In addition to wiki pages, you can also use web part pages in SharePoint. Prior to SharePoint 2010, these were the bread and butter of all SharePoint sites. They don't allow us the kind of freeform editing that you just saw in a wiki page. They're much more structured. But there are times that that is exactly what you want. You want to say, this is what the page looks like, and you can have web parts in these areas, but nowhere else. To create a web part page, first you'll want to go to Site Contents so that we can get to our pages here in the Site Pages library. When we open it up this time, you'll notice that we have some wiki pages sitting in there, more than we had. Guest FAQ, area events, statewide events, and so on. If you want to change the names of those, we know how to edit these pages. They're part of the settings for the page. But if I want to add a new web part page, the only way I will be able to do this is to go to Files. And if I click New Document, it's going to automatically let me create a new wiki page. That's what it wants to do. But I can also choose to create a new web part page right here. So rather than the wiki page it wants to allow me to create, we'll say, no, we really want a web part page. We know what we're talking about. And you'll see the difference because immediately not only will you be asked for a name, but we're going to be asked to make some choices about the structure of the page. Perhaps I'd like to put some web parts on a page together that are displaying some information about a particular event or a particular function. Whatever that name is, that's what I would put here. We don't want to use names that are already being used like start, because this is going to create an ASPX page. If you don't click overwrite, then if you choose a name that's already in use, you'll generate an error message, and that's a plus. If you want to replace a page that already exists, simply enter its name here and allow an overwrite. But I'm just going to enter this as temp. This is a temporary page. And here are my layouts. Each of them has zones. So our first choice is simply to have web parts that every web part takes up the width of the page. Not something I use commonly. Normally I want some way to be able to separate it. And you'll notice that you have lots of really great designs that you can choose from, but whatever you choose is the choice that you're going to be using for this page for as long as it exists. This is not a decision that we get to go second guess. I'm going to put this in Site Pages where my other pages are. There might be a reason to put our pages in a different library. This Site Pages library, a lot of people have the ability to edit. So I might create a library with different permissions for these structured site pages that I'm creating, because I don't want just anyone having the ability to modify them. Let's create this page though, using the header right column body template. It looks a little bit daunting. It's fairly empty, but you know how to work this page as well. Notice that we have a very simple ribbon, and you might wonder, where's insert? Well, we have 3 zones that you can drop web parts in, a quick launch sitting on the left. So if I want to put a web part at the top, click, and you will get the rest of the ribbon that you were looking for. Here are our apps, here are our web parts, and I can choose, for example, to put my announcements here in the header and simply add them, and modify this web part using all of the information you already have about how to modify web parts. So we can stop editing, and when we do that, it will be tucked away and we know where to find it because it's in our Site Pages library. We will need to provide some navigation to this page as we would any other standalone page. If we want to add it to our quick launch, we can. We can add a link to it somewhere else, because we can always get back to our home page and other pages using our quick launch on the left. This is how you create and modify a web part page in SharePoint.